Hello everyone, it's Flexing Joe, back to review another day in the markets. Let's look at Wednesday, November 20th, right? So following the end of the session on the 19th, VIX was just chopping over the 10-minute 200, and then we see the 10-minute 200 get defended pretty well here. So buyers, if you will, are holding this 10-minute 200, they double bottom on it, and then going into the open, we have CBC turn bullish with very bullish looking EMAs here, right? You can see the longer time frame 3450 cloud has shifted back to bullish right around the time of the open, and this is a very bullish setup for the VIX. So let's slide over to NQ, and I wanted to take a little bit of a zoomed out look really quickly. So you can see this is where we closed on the 19th, and then we had this big drop down on the 14th into the 15th, right? So this is where we opened on the 15th. So you can see overnight we're really just consolidating, and we're really just consolidating within, if we look at the open to this like pivot low area, that's where we're consolidating, and the buyers are not able to overtake the sellers throughout the entire overnight session in through here. So then once we get closer to the open, you see here that we just, again, we're candle by candle short. We move down through VWAP, we break the pre-market low, and then we close like right at it, right, the session low. So I'm a little bounced there off the 10-minute 200, probably deceived and tricked out some bulls thinking that, okay, well, they've just, had a fake out breakdown underneath this session low, and we're going to, push back up. But you can see very clearly once the open hit, it was just off to the races short, right? And then if we also look, we're going to look at ES for the same thing. So let me adjust our closing print right there. Sorry about that. So ES, very similar story, right? Here's the opening prints here, and here's this like pre-market high pivot. So if we just look at this as a whole big zone, you see how they try to like push out of it, and they can't sustain price above it, and ultimately we fall back down below it. Also, if I just draw a candle to where, a level off of where the pre-market high is, you'll see that the pre-market high pushes into where these potentially stuck buyers are. So if we were to draw a little bit of a different zone, maybe from about here, and let's just send it over. So again, I know that this pre-market high following the London Open was, pretty important. But also, if we just look at where those stuck buyers were, see the buyers again try to defend, can't overtake VWAP, and they fail. Some of them probably got out for, close to break even there. But then look, that's right where we topped out on the market right here. Okay, so delete that just to get rid of some extra stuff. So candle by candle was short going into the open on ES as well. So this is where this strategy shines extremely well. Looking at all three of them off of the open, all three in alignment, and we get movement in that direction. So just like I call it the bases loaded, when all three of them are in agreement, you're really setting yourself up for the triple play to, to kind of strike out on your account if you go against when all three of them are in agreement right off of the open. Okay, large move down here on NQ. And you get a candle by candle flip here at 10:30. Now, here's what I want to talk about on the VIX, right? I'm trying to call your attention to this right here with all the arrows. So this was an old gap. This gap down occurred from Tuesday the 22nd into Wednesday the 23rd. And so we moved up over that, and then we ultimately gapped down over this gap following the election. So now we push back up into this gap area. And when I see wicks like this tweezer top set up right through the gap fill, and then we get a candle by candle flip short, usually I can interpret that as, either the high of the day, or for the time being, the high, and we're going to have a sizable pullback, right? Typically speaking, you see a pullback through the bottom of the gap, which wasn't very big, but about 50 cents lower, and ultimately goes back down to the 10-minute 9 EMA. So you get confirmation for the longs a little bit later on ES and NQ. It's the following candle. So you don't get all three to flip at the same time. But once all three flip, if you bought the pullbacks, probably showing a 2-minute EMA cross in this area, it was just really a small scalp, and it didn't really yield you all that much. From there, when you get the candle by candle flip back short, you see ES actually VIX flips long ahead of NQ, but ES flips at the same time. You could have taken that short. You could have waited for the NQ flip to take that short as well. Although the other thing to call out here with NQ is if you were to look, you know, this was a golden zone retracement as well. So you see the sellers are stepping in there, and you're also back down onto your orb. Is also following such a big move. The first time that you come back in and touch the 10-minute EMAs, and you can see this double doji here, double spinning top on the 10-minute. There's a lot of reasons to try the short, especially just risking this candle's high. While the candle by candle didn't flip on this one, you did close lower, and you're not really seeing the buyers step up there. And if we get really close into it, you see the high of this candle is 645. The high of this candle is 644.5, so couldn't even overtake this. Any stuck buyers that were here that tried to make this push up want to get out for break even, as they probably did here. So any remaining ones get out there. We did end up breaking over VWAP, right? And you see then again a tweezer top right over the belly button at right off of the 10-minute 50 EMA. So I really like this cloud. I don't like to try long trades when we're in a bearish setup like this in between here, unless we've had, you know, the candles, I'm sorry, the EMA cloud kind of pinching and curling over. So this is much more favorable. You see how much they've pinched together, and you're holding really a higher low setup. So, but you know, from there, it's really just, it was kind of choppy. You had bases loaded set up here for the short here. That would have worked pretty well. It flips back for a long trade here. Ultimately, this one does fail. And I could say that this one probably fails for a few different reasons. And I would have waited for probably a little bit more confirmation, but it pushes right into the EMAs. And it you know, is also that lunchtime trade. So not everything works perfectly. Fails here. You get a candle by candle flip short on VIX, long on ES and NQ, and this one worked fantastically well right there. So you flip, could have entered here, could have entered here, and then you don't have a reason to stop out for a nice end of day squeeze. So I really like this setup too as well, because again, the EMAs are pinching on ES and crossing over, and I really can't stress enough how important it is to be watching ES when you're trading NQ. I routinely find that the best trades on NQ are when the candle by candle is in alignment with ES. So hope you guys like this video and find it helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.